Welcome, friends and colleagues. Today we have got together for a different occasion. You know, all of us, Dr. Yash Lokhandwala, Dr. Brian Pinto, and myself, we are cardiologists, and we have been in the city of Mumbai for last few years. But today it's a little different thing which we are going to discuss, and it is going to be related to the incidences of sudden cardiac death and how we are going to take care of it. Friends, I must tell you that we have an organization which has been set up since the last 4 years, which is called as iCare organization. And it has been instrumental in teaching lot many people in the city of Mumbai. And the credit goes to these two cardiologists in the city of Mumbai, Dr. Brian Pinto and Dr. Yash Lokhandwala. So Brian, I'm going to ask you as to how did you think of bringing this iCare module in the city of Mumbai?
Ajit, it's a story which is sad, but at the same time, it's a story which has helped a lot of people here. Way back in 2016, I was in the US and I got a call which told me that one of our friends, a colleague of ours, a very well-known gynecologist, Dr. Rakesh Sinha, had suddenly passed away from having fallen down while he was running up the slope of Pali Hill. And he did this every day because he used to participate in marathons which happened in Bombay every year. But that day was a sad day, 26th of December, I remember it, 2016. And then I think I called up Yash, or maybe he did call me up, and we said, now what do we do about this? We've been, hearing this thing every time, but we don't do anything. So it was on the phone that we conceptualized the idea of creating a body that would train people to take and do what is called as bystander CPR. People who are not medical people like abroad should be aware that if a person collapses suddenly, then he should be administered CPR provided it's a cardiac arrest, which is very simple to find out. And that's how we brought about this particular concept of iCare. And I'm sure Yash has some points as well, which he would like to mention at this point.
So just to give the full form for all of you, it was, as Brian says, we wanted to make this available for everyone. So iCare is cardiac arrest resuscitation for everyone, because most people who will save lives for cardiac arrest will not be doctors, and we'll come to that later in the discussion. And while Ajit gives us compliments for training, actually our team, which we have, though we initiated this project, but the people behind the scenes actually have been training a lot of people, and which also we'll discuss in the course of this.
And that too, these two people, Somaya and Anand, have actually trained more than 125,000 people. That is 125,000 people, which is a huge number, Ajit. And the second thing is that, as you was mentioned, besides Rakesh Sinha, around about the same time as Yash was mentioning earlier in our conversation, Dr. Samir Desai, the urologist, then we had another very good friend of ours and colleague, Dr. Prasanna Nayagesh. Both of them passed away very suddenly. Samir Desai in front of a whole group of doctors who did not have an AED at that time, which is an automatic external defibrillator. So clearly we understood that more than 2 million people die each year, or even maybe 3 million in India. And that made us think that these people, many of them under the age of 50, may actually survive if this program was brought to fruition. So I think that's how iCare started. Of course, it took us almost 6 months to get the body going, and we were fortunate to have Dr. Armina Fernandez also to help us to get this place, and mainly Holy Family Hospital, because they gave us the facility to start, they gave us a place to start, and I think Holy Family has to be complimented that they gave us all these things. They haven't charged us for that, and they've supported us completely. And it's an initiative, though we were the founders, but I would say it's an initiative of the Holy Family Hospital. Yes, would you?
Yes, I fully agree. Otherwise, it would have been impossible
to start this.
Actually, we also thought, Ajit, that we had many doubting Thomases amongst our own colleagues that you'll do this, but what will come of it? we will stand and clap if something comes out of it, but we are a little afraid that whether they will achieve anything. And I said, yes, this is a drop in the ocean right now, but we cannot wait for the government a lot of other
Other
health
problems.
issues to be tackled.
Absolutely.
And we as cardiologists, if we who are seeing this, we know the problem, we know that lives can be saved. If we don't do anything, it will be sad. So at least let me feel that I tried. So Brian and I will let us feel that we tried.
Oh, Yash, I'm going to ask you one specific question as to what is the vision you had of starting this particular eye care organization?
See what I had two visions. One is to make sure that we can train as many lay people in CPR as possible. It was estimated that if 20% of the population of cities, and this we understand this can be done in cities, to do it where communities are spread out is difficult, but in the cities of India, and let's start with Mumbai, and we started with a very humble vision of Bandra and its surroundings, the western suburbs.
True.
If we can train 20% of the population in the western suburbs from Bandra to Andheri, and then see how many lives we can save, and hopefully this idea catches up with others. We were fortunate that in the initial part we got a good grant from Bajaj Foundation, which allowed us to set our organization in order, and then let 100 flowers bloom. Let others get convinced. Let we be convinced, and then this movement will spread. That was my vision, and my other vision or our vision is that ultimately nobody should be allowed to die without suddenly of cardiac arrest without at least trying to save.
So I'll ask you one counter question as far as, did you find any stumbling blocks?
Oh, there are huge stumbling blocks. One, as you said, if Holy Family had not supported us, where would we have at the place? See, many of our colleagues, including you and me and others, did these one-off programs where we would go for a lecture, talk about sudden death, teach some people, but nothing comes out of it until it's a concerted effort on a consistent and concerted effort. So having a place, having funds, having full-time people, because we can do only so much and no more. Luckily, we had full-timers who have stuck with us, Sumaya, Anand and Vilma, and they conduct all the training sessions. Where to get the funds, where to reach out to people, to convince people to attend. And there were multiple, and there still are stumbling blocks, but we are learning to tackle them as they come.
So Brian, as you said that Holy Family took the initiative to help you out in establishing this particular organization. So how exactly did Holy Family assist you in this particular project?
I think, the most important thing that they did was unequivocally, they did not ask us anything as far as place was concerned. They gave us the place and they gave us their various halls to conduct innumerable programs. And before the COVID time, we had many programs in Holy Family Hospital. And these programs set the ball rolling. We had these heart marshals being trained, which is that they attend so many hours and then they can be
Conduct an
They
exam.
can conduct an exam, and then we would have train the trainer programs, because ultimately a group of 5 people cannot train everybody. So you have to have trained the trainers. This is what Holy Family helped us to do. They set us up. We got our first, administrative help. We make a request also to corporate bodies, to CSRs, to whatever, to fund this project, not for any other thing, but to make Mumbai and India, first Mumbai, and then the rest of the country who are joining us now. Many of our colleagues are joining us from Ahmedabad, from Pune, from Guwahati, from everywhere.
Chennai.
They're asking, how did you all start this? So many young people. We just had this actor, Siddharth Shukla, I think,
Shukla.
who died in the gym. I felt it tremendously bad. Then there
We
was
had 2 more doctors recently.
yeah, we had 2
on the same
doctors.
day.
Roy, that
One
Dimant
from
Roy, whatever he was,
radiologist.
radiologist from
And one for the
Fukiragan.
gynecologist.
Yes, and the people are all 35, 40, 45. It's very sad that no CPR is still being administered to them, and that nobody knows about it adequately still. 1,25,000 people being trained is not enough. We need 10 to 20% of the population. So that means in every household,
That is the vision.
one person should know CPR at least. If all of them know, it's great. And I have one idea. This is my vision. My vision is that whenever you go to any place, party, this, that, the other, please spend 5 minutes talking about CPR rather than talking about anything else, so that at least that family knows about it, the other families around know about it, and there's no harm in demonstrating it also over there. They'll be happy with you at some point. Some of them may make fun, that's okay. But it will teach them that this is what you need to know. Some countries you don't get a driving license without knowing CPR. Some places you don't get your school certificate without knowing CPR.
But Brian, I'm happy to say that some of these state curricula
Yeah.
have now included
Absolutely.
cardiac arrest and CPR in
So important,
in the-
so important that if you look today, I have had patients who have gone from India, gone to the US, gone somewhere else, and quite a few of them have had sudden cardiac arrest, sometime in McDonald's, sometime in Burger King. All of them have been resuscitated over there. The ambulance arrives and people in the thing know what to do.
Yeah.
So CPR is, so this is what is our vision for
So
India.
Ajit, my vision for the next 10 years is that, in the best of cities, like say Seattle, for example, out of hospital cardiac arrest, up to 50% people survive
Absolutely.
and go home.
Yes.
In India, it is less than 0.1%.
Absolutely.
So that 0.1% figure, I'm not saying we come to 50%, but if we can bring to 10%, that will be a great task achieved.
True. Yash, as far as the eye care is concerned, do you do training only for the doctors or it is for the lay people also at the same time? And how do you conduct now? You have two avenues. One is before the COVID era and now it is during the COVID era. So how do you take it forward?
So actually, before the COVID era, they were all sessions which were physically present sessions with mannequins. For example, as you know, during a national cardiology conference, we trained 500 people of the Railway Protection Force. And the other associations with us, the Anesthetists Association helped quite a lot. Dr. Manju Sinha, Dr. Deepa, the anesthetists also have been part of it. So we used to do those. And our team used to conduct sessions here in Holy Family. The pandemic was a little bit of a setback because everything stopped for a few months. But
Yeah.
then, probably from June last year, we restarted and we learned how to conduct online sessions meaningfully, and it has been a big boost. For example, Ajit, in 3 sessions on 3 days, we've trained about 60% of the Ahmedabad police force
Excellent.
online, and because they collect in auditoria, in police stations, or individually and attend. So the online sessions have managed, in fact, to make cover a much wider audience
Great.
for training.
Great. So does it make any difference as we're not having hands-on experience?
It could make some difference, but let me give you an extreme example. There have been examples where people in countries, for example, in the USA, you call 911. When there's been instances, someone has cardiac arrest, 911, the operator realizes this person doesn't know anything about cardiac arrest, asks questions, makes the person identify cardiac arrest, gives instruction on the phone how to give cardiac massage to a person who's never had any training, and lives have been saved. Of course, along with massage, then ambulance arrives and you shock the patient, but lives have been saved. So, an online training for any reasonably understanding person is enough to be able to save a life. Yes, training on a mannequin with supervision would be even better, but here you get a much wider reach.
Yeah, very good. So you have a general idea, but once the COVID era goes off, I think online will make.
And
a lot
very
of difference.
important, is now that it's very clear that, not now, but for the last 10 years, that it's no mouth-to-mouth breathing is required.
Absolutely.
So it's only compression. So even in the COVID era, as long as you're masked, you can definitely give a CPR.
Excellent. So Brian, we have established this eye care since the last 4 years. Any number of people you have been able to save by these particular teachings or the organizations?
Very, very important question, Ajit. And in fact, Yash and me were wondering, 1 year went by, 1.5 years went by, and I kept telling Yash, this is not good, this is not happening. And then suddenly one morning, I get a call from a friend of mine who actually visited the St. Andrew's Church with me. His own wife was a young lady, collapsed in her own clinic, and CPR was not administered. The lady was taken to Khar in Hinja 4 years later. But this I want to mention his name because he's really an angel. His name is Samir Firasta, and Firasta means angel. So this guy was walking behind one of the most prolific architects of our city and country, Mr. Premnath, whom I also know, member of Waters Club. And Premnath was shaking hands with another guy on the promenade when he suddenly collapsed. He's about 79 or 80 at that time, but very fit guy. But his ejection, he had a heart attack 20 years back, and his ejection fraction we had known was 30. He collapsed. He had a sudden cardiac arrest. Samir, who was walking about 15 yards behind him, because he had come and told me this, I had told him join iCare, and he had come and attended 3 sessions. He recognized this immediately. And can you imagine, this guy held back a crowd of maybe 50 or 100 people who kept on saying, shift him to hospital, which is the most foolish thing to do, because in sudden cardiac arrest, unlike a heart attack, you have to administer the treatment at the spot. You are the hospital at that time. So Samir identified this sudden cardiac arrest by looking at breathing, there's no breathing, and not able to arouse the patient. So he followed the protocol, just 2 steps protocol of not being able to arouse the person and patient not breathing. And he started cardiac massage immediately and suggested to one of the people around and taught another person at that site that once I get tired, because you will get tired in 1 to 2 minutes, it is definite that you will get tired, that you continue what I was doing. So he managed to do that, and also shouted out that please call up Waters Club number he gave to call. However, one man went running, which was about maybe 100 yards away, and the defibrillator was waiting. It took 8-10 minutes. It was not that this thing happened just like that. It took 7 to 10 minutes to come. So Samir, along with the other guy, continued to give cardiac massage, and by the time it arrived, he shocked the patient the first time, applying the paddles, and it didn't revive. And we had taught him that if it doesn't come out, the AED tells you that no more to be. But the AED told him, shock again, means after he gave the second massage, because he had, and at the time of the second shock, he saw Mr. Premnath wake up and say where he is. So he realized that this guy had come out. All this got recorded on IAD. I think Yash has the whole tracing with him. One day we'll put it up. But this was the first, and we were so elated because afterwards we did his angiography, we did a bypass for him in this hospital. Then we had Dr. Ajit Desai who joined us. And I think, Ajit, you should tell us about the other people. We've had almost 6-7 people who have been revived like this. It's not a big number. But the important thing is that none of these would otherwise have survived. So Ajit put AED in his own society. Ajit is going to tell us the second story of whom he revived and how he did it.
No, this which happened for one of the assistant municipal commissioner, and he is a colleague who plays badminton with me, and we play usually in the evening times. And this was on the eve of the Republic Day in 2020. That he played his game and he was sitting by the side of the court, and I was on the court also playing the next game. And suddenly I found that he is going flat on the seat and suddenly fell off onto the court. The moment this happened, I realized what has happened, because I had done his angiography about 4 years back and it showed some blockages. So that besides, I came running, and there were people who were aware as to how CPR is done. The moment I came in, they put him flat on the hard surface. The court is of course made of
Hard surface, yeah.
The wooden thing, not so hard. So they put him on the side when I instituted the cardiac massage. I continued the cardiac massage for almost about 7 to 8 minutes. And I got tired. So my colleague came in, who is also not a doctor. He started giving the cardiac massage. And by that time, we could get in the AED which had been installed in my society, which is just about 5 minutes away. So my son, who's also into medicine, he brought it in. We applied the pedals for him, gave him 1 shock. He did not revive, but my colleague continued giving him cardiac massage. We delivered the second shock to him, and then he was awake. He started looking around here and there. And believe me, this was so gratifying that this patient, my friend of mine, did not have a heart attack. He had basically an arrhythmia, from which he reverted. But of course, we did his angiogram. He had blocks. We got him operated by bypass surgery. He's doing well now. The other incidences occurred in my society itself. A fellow who
I think before you tell the other incident, so this was one person saved on the badminton court.
Yes.
In the Gymkhana where I play badminton, several years ago, one person in a tournament suddenly after a long time overstretched himself, collapsed on the court. People, good Samaritans, did what everybody in India does. They lifted him and took him to the Arogya Nidhi hospital. It took a good 7, 8, 10 minutes by the time he reached, by the time he was 8 minutes of 10 minutes of cardiac arrest, they tried whatever they could, he could not be revived. And one more death I know, in a health club, person collapses, the trainers, for want of not knowing anything, or making him smell slippers so that he will wake up with the smell. So here you have the high of saving somebody on the badminton court, and there's the low of nothing being done.
Absolutely.
So I think the important message that you're giving, Ajit, I know you saved one person in the society also.
Yes.
So you had the great fortune of doing, and this has been because the AED is also there. That's very
Yes.
important to know. That cardiac massage by itself may save about 5 to 10% of the people, but not more than that. You have to be able to shock them. So that will raise the chance of saving up to 40 to 50%. So it's very important, and this is what we've been doing. We've been installing AEDs all around the city, but more so in the Bandra, Khar, Santa Cruz area, because that was our pilot
Some of the
project.
police stations.
Yes.
Some of the police stations all over the city, and we are trying to tell people, but it's unfortunate that even in the gymkhanas where we've installed them, even when we talk to the young people and we're giving talks all over, it is the old people who come for the lectures and not the young. They think that this will never happen to them. I want to tell them that most of the cardiac arrests that I have seen have occurred in people under the age of 50.
That should be
So,
the message.
Yash, coming to the basics, I think CPR is something which you need to learn, because that is the preliminary treatment which you can give a person who has come into
Absolutely.
sudden cardiac death. Then
Absolutely.
you can talk about the AED and other things.
Yeah, but we need-
Else,
Yeah,
and
you need
also
both.
AED is very important if you want to revive.
So if you are even, you don't have a defibrillator or a AED, you continue massage till either ambulance comes,
Correct.
or if you are, it's closer for you to go to a hospital. While shifting to hospital, take in such a vehicle that you can continue
Correct.
CPR till you come to higher.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
In
That
the
gives you the
ambulance
cardiac
also. I must
output.
also tell you about the reassuring part of the eye care and the people we have saved, which has been instrumental in putting up AED in most of the societies in our locality, as well as in the clubs, as well as in the police station. So it's a thing that people are getting realization as far as this particular entity is concerned, what is called as the AED. So yes, taking it forwards, I'm going to ask you a very important question. Say, supposing a man is walking on the street and suddenly he collapses and falls down. And we know that he is not fallen down because of a cardiac arrest. And somebody tells you or the bystander that he has fallen down because of cardiac arrest, and you start initiating cardiac massage or CPR. Is it going to harm him, or is it going to help him?
See, CPR will not do harm, to put it very broadly. If it's not cardiac arrest, if it's a common faint, for example, usually the person, once he falls down in a flat position, is going to spontaneously only wake up in a few seconds. So even if you give him 1 or 2 massages, the patient is awake, you're not done any harm. If it's real cardiac arrest and you give vigorous CPR also, you're not doing any harm. Sometimes you can have, people ask this often, that will I damage the rib? Yes, sometimes the person is very frail, you can have a minor hairline, what is called, of the rib. But that's in a real cardiac arrest situation where it's not going to, if you're saving a life, that little bit damage to the rib is really inconsequential.
Absolutely. So in fact, they say that if you are giving an effective cardiac massage, you may have some rib fractures. So, but you don't have to bother. But it doesn't make any difference as far as the outcome of the patient is concerned. So, Brian, coming to the important question, if you have a sudden cardiac death while a person is running for a marathon, or he has just finished his marathon and he comes up with a sudden cardiac death, what is the cause? Because we see these things happening in people who are supposed to be physically fit, doing marathons, or people who are going to the gym, exercising well. And most of the time this happens not during the process of the physical exertion, but just about 10 minutes after that.
Absolutely. Ajit, you just
Is it-
mentioned, you brought up a very, very important point, Ajit. And I think it's so important that it be told over here. This we have seen, as you mentioned, in this badminton player of yours. And we have seen that in most marathons that have happened in Mumbai, especially the Mumbai marathon, I always predict that 2 to 3 people are going to die. And it happens. It has not happened in even one of them. And why is that? If you look at the data from the West, you will see that per 1.5 million runs, there is one death. However, in India, I feel that it is per marathon that there are 2 or 3 deaths. So there is big, wide difference between what is quoted in the West and what happens in our country. There are a couple of reasons for this. One of which I feel is that many people who run the Bombay Marathon or run marathons without training adequately, they may have trained a little bit, but they haven't trained adequately. They actually stretch themselves to such a limit, and we are in a hot, humid climate also. No exercise is extremely bad. Mild to moderate exercise is good. And what do you call mild to moderate exercise? 30 minutes of walking, brisk walking every day, 5-6 days in a week. However, you can go beyond that. Now, once you start stretching yourself to the limit, like in a marathon or in very vigorous exercise, remember
Or the weights, people are going
weights,
crazy over those.
heavy weights, and then taking protein shakes. So all this put together increases your chances of electrolyte imbalances and other imbalances in the body, and therefore you are at an increased risk for a sudden cardiac event, especially when the adrenaline surge is extremely high, and in the 10, 15, 20 minutes after the exercise when you are cooling down, that is the period. And if you have had a late night, don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, because we have seen many executives do that. They have a late night, maybe sometimes an increased intake of alcohol, maybe they are overweight, maybe they have not slept adequately, and they start exercising at 5,
Or
6 o'clock in
smokers.
the morning. Smokers, hypertensives, all these kind of people have an increased chance of sudden cardiac death. So if you do it, please warm up correctly, don't over exercise, see that you take enough rest, see that you are adequately hydrated. These are all the important things that you need to do. People, don't allow your trainer to push you beyond a certain point. These trainers, many of them have no knowledge about the heart, they have no knowledge about resuscitation, and this should be our next aim, to train gym trainers, because maximum deaths I have seen today is in the gyms.
You don't have to take care of the risk factors into inverted commas. So you have to look after yourself, particularly if you have a very strong family history, whether you have got underlying diabetes. We know that diabetes, India today is the capital of diabetes problem, or blood pressure. As I tell them, you should know your levels, blood pressure levels, your cholesterol levels,
sugar,
and your sugar levels. So it is very important for these young people to know all these things.
and smoking, and
And
tobacco.
smoking, of course. As I put it, 4 S's. You have to take care of your stress. You have to quit smoking. You have to be self-disciplined as far as eating is concerned and exercise is concerned. So Yash, the iCare organization under your guidance has thought of having the National Sudden Cardiac Arrest Week. What is the idea, and what has prompted you to have this particular week?
See, actually, during the a few months ago, it was just about 2 months ago, that the discussion was how do we carry this to a much more widespread audience. And we also realized that doing it just in Mumbai and the western suburbs and Mumbai, and little bit here and there, which we've been doing for last 3 years, it would be much more impactful if we could do it all across the country and over a consistent period of time. So we thought, in fact, Dr. Brian suggested a month, and then we came down to this thing of a week, because that was what our manpower would allow. And we said, let's try to get other organizations. So Ajit, in fact, you got in the Cardiology Society of Mumbai, and we got other organizations, the Indian Anesthesia Association, that's their Resuscitation Council.
The STEMI India.
Then the STEMI India. Then we had the Indian Heart Rhythm Society, the Indian Society of Electrocardiology, the Mumbai University of Health Sciences. So all these bodies, the CSI of Delhi, so all these bodies gave us their support. and we've also started contacting our colleagues all over the country. So now we are hoping during this week, by way of programs, online training sessions, media coverage, making people and bringing this into public consciousness, bringing our slogan for this cardiac arrest awareness week is hands on heartbeat, and as it's written there, our hands on heartbeats, and our hashtag is restart a heart at your place of work, in your family, in your housing society, in your recreation group. Keep talking about this, spread it, because as Brian says, is the younger population who learn CPR. They will be alive for the next 40-50 years, and surely in their lifetime they will come across an occasion where they can save a life. So while we have trained so many, we expect that many of those will train others and others and others, and then we can't. That's how we'll cover a significant segment of the population.
And also spread the word around.
I think social media is also helping a lot.
Absolutely.
You
And
know,
that is
one
why
is that I think social media has helped us a lot. The facility of having Instagram, WhatsApp, all these things where we've sent these messages. I think this is so important that the young people get into it, because they are far better at social media than all of us.
Absolutely.
They are able to spread it so well, and I think we have to get young people involved, not only for the fact that they live much longer, but also for the fact that they will be able to spread it much quicker.
And that brings us to the fact about the using the celebrities and well-known people.
Absolutely.
So in fact, Ajit was very helpful to us in getting many of the sports persons. And after the Olympics, getting PV Sindhu, and we also got
In fact, Yash helped with
Neeraj
Neeraj
Chopra, and then we got film personalities, we got cricket sports persons, we got educationists, we got police commissioners.
Yes.
So all these, and we thought that different people would get inspired by this thing, and they have also not only given us their video clips, but they themselves have used their social media presence to spread this message. And so the younger population has been enthused, many of the younger by some of these celebrities, and it was a good gesture on their part to do this totally free of charge, and not only do this but also spread it on their social media.
Yeah, it is very, very nice of them to agree to give the bites as far as the eye care is concerned.
Yes.
And I think, as we know, most of these people have got a huge following. So it is going to make an impact, and I'm sure it will carry the message forward to most of the people in Mumbai. We talked about CPR. Now I want either of you to talk about the importance of AED, the automatic external defibrillator. Give us some insight for the general public as to what this AED is and how do you use it.
Normally, defibrillators are ones where the doctor has to know it, you have to switch it on. This automatic,
And it's not portable.
Not portable.
Yeah.
Automatic means you are not doing anything except applying the paddles. After you have found a patient who you have given CPR to, somebody has brought it, you apply the paddles. Now the machine talks to you. It tells you, please give a shock. You have to only press an orange or a green flashing button. Depends upon the type of AED. Most of our AEDs are Philips, but we have different kinds all over this country. So if you press that button, a shock will be delivered. Some of the absolute automatic ones will deliver a shock by themselves. However, all you have to do is follow the instructions, and therefore it is called automatic. It is called external because it is external, it is not inside your body. And this was what we decided, that this is what we need to do. Not only teach CPR, but also have an automatic external defibrillator installed in various sites.
With only CPR, you achieve 1/3 of the benefit. With an AED, you achieve an additional 2/3. So if you're saving 10% of people with only CPR, you can make it 40 or up to 40% with CPR plus AED. And that also brings us to the fact that this AED is, as Brian says, I should not use the word, it's idiot proof. People often have that hesitation, right? What if I give a wrong shock? Why will you? But no, it analyzes the rhythm. It knows what is to be done. It keeps talking. It keeps instructing. If it feels shock is not required, it clearly says, do not shock. So you cannot go wrong with an AED.
Absolutely. The AED itself is very, very simple to use because I have the hands-on experience twice It
Yeah.
tells you every step,
Yeah.
right from putting up the pedals, where to put it, because the diagram is
It's on the
right in
diagram.
front of you.
Absolutely.
It tells you once you have initiated or put the machine on, it tells you wait. It tells you, it analyzes the rhythm of the person or the patient who has had sudden cardiac death. After about 5 to 7 seconds, it will tell you stay away from the patient because it's going to deliver the shock, which is important. It tells you to stay away, then it delivers the shock, and it tells you start the CPR again.
Again, or it will tell you
Or
do not
can say,
shock.
and then it tells you immediately stop. Very important.
Very important to continue CPR because CPR gives you about 40 to 50%. If administered well, that means you're pressing down on the sternum, the lower end of the sternum, by at least 5 centimeters. Very important that you give it in that. So the online training sessions are on all the time,
Yes.
and they have this awareness week, which is going to be there from the 25th of September to the 2nd of October. You can just click on the QR code that is available over here, and you will get, and they are free training sessions. Remember, we do not charge for the training sessions. This is only to improve the ability of people to know about CPR. It's very important that our people are encouraged. More people click on this code. More people know about it, and the online facility that gives you virtual handling. We want to change in the country. This is something that we want to do. So, Ajit, I think.
And I'm sure that if you all get together and now that we have achieved that, we've gone past that skepticism. As we say, someday we will, hum honge kamyab. Right from the beginning. Not only the online session, but every session conducted by iCare, in person, online, has been completely free, and that's the way we want to continue.
And you can take advantage of having a particular society or a club or a recreation place. Just call them up and they will arrange for the online, or could be as soon as the COVID is over, to have an actual demo as far as the CPR is concerned and the use of AED is concerned. I think we have come to the end of this particular discussion. I must compliment iCare organization and both of you for initiating this particular thing, and not only you but the entire team of iCare, because they have been doing a
Tremendous
great job, a tremendous job as far as initiating the action as well as putting it across to the lay people as to how to initiate CPR and giving them an idea as to how AED needs to be used. I think this is going to be highlighted as far as the awareness week is going to be there from the 25th of September till the 2nd of October. And I think you can take the advantage, just go on to the QR code, go on it, and you can go on to the online teaching sessions as far as CPR is concerned. So friends, please take advantage of it and join hands with iCare to move this particular organization as well as the movement forward and save lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.